Across medieval France, there existed a network of hospitals with a name so unsettling that even hearing it would make you hesitate before stepping closer. They were known as the hospitals of the dismembered. And if you ever approached one, you wouldn't need anyone to explain why, because hanging above the entrance were human limbs, blackened fingers, rotting feet, entire arms, severed and suspended like grotesque wind chimes, swaying gently in the air. These were not warnings, they were offerings, given to St. Anthony, the patron saint of a disease so common, so feared, that people named it after him. St. Anthony's fire. It did not come from war, it was not the plague, and it was not divine punishment. It came from bread. Ordinary rye bread, eaten at an ordinary table, on an ordinary day. A fungus, silent, invisible, had infected the grain. And once it was baked, it carried something far worse than hunger. Those who ate it began to convulse. Their bodies twisted in pain. Their minds fractured into hallucinations so vivid they could no longer tell what was real. And slowly, their extremities began to die. Fingers turned black. Toes followed. Limbs rotted and fell away. By the time people realized something was wrong, it was already too late. Entire communities suffered. In one outbreak in France, tens of thousands died, and for centuries, no one understood why, not even close. Because the most dangerous thing on the table looked like the safest. Now imagine you step into a public house in medieval England. The door creaks open, and the first thing that hits you isn't the noise, it's the smell. Thick, suffocating air, smoke, sweat, damp wood, animal dung, and fermentation, all trapped in a space barely larger than a modern apartment. The ceiling is low, the light is dim, and the floor beneath your feet is not wood or stone, but packed earth, damp and uneven. This isn't just a place to drink, this is someone's home. This is their family eats here, sleeps here, lives here, and their animals live here too. And now, so do you. Outside, the streets offer no escape. Waste runs openly through them, rotting carcasses, human filth, garbage, all flowing through shallow channels that double as drainage. Wells sit only a few feet away from cesspits, leaking slowly into the same ground that provides drinking water. Contamination isn't avoided, it isn't even understood. Life expectancy hovers around 30 years, not because life is short by nature, but because survival is fragile by design. And at the center of that survival is something you might not expect. Ale. Not as a luxury, not as recreation, but as necessity. People drank it every single day. Men, women, children, monks, peasants, nobles, around a gallon per person, per day. Because water could kill you faster, ale was safer, sometimes. It was called liquid bread, and that wasn't a metaphor. It was one of the three pillars holding life together: bread, pottage, and ale. But this ale wasn't what you know today. It had no hops, no preservation. It spoiled quickly, sometimes within days, and to give it flavor, brewers added a mixture of herbs known as groot, bog myrtle, yarrow, wild rosemary. Some of these weren't just flavoring agents, they were stimulants, psychoactive. In high enough quantities, they could make you dizzy, restless, even unstable. Then came something darker. Henbane, a plant from the nightshade family, toxic, dangerous, and deliberately added to ale to make it feel stronger than it was. It caused dry mouth, intense thirst, which meant after one drink, your body demanded another, and another, and another. Not because you wanted more, because your body was tricked into needing it. Sometimes the dose was miscalculated, sometimes the mixture was wrong, and sometimes the drink in your hand was the last thing you would ever taste. And yet, you still drank. Because the alternative, was starvation. The food beside your drink offered little comfort. You didn't eat from plates. You ate from trenchers, stale bread used as a surface for your meal, soaked in grease, reused, sometimes eaten, sometimes handed to the poor. The main dish was pottage, a stew that never truly ended. Ingredients were added over days, sometimes weeks. What you ate today had traces of meals cooked long before you arrived. There was no reset, no cleaning, no starting fresh. Just an endless cycle of consumption. And the bread, the most important food of all, was quietly betraying you, mixed with dirt, chalk, sometimes even sand to increase weight. Ground with stone mills that left grit inside the flour, slowly grinding down your teeth with every bite. And sometimes infected with the same fungus that caused St. Anthony's fire. You would eat, you would wait, and you would not know what had just entered your body. For over 800 years, people lived like this. Ate like this, died like this. They blamed poison, enemies, even the alignment of planets, but never the bread. Because how could something so essential be the thing killing you? Authorities tried to control it. Inspectors tasted ale to ensure its quality, sometimes getting sick themselves. Bakers were punished publicly if caught cheating. Laws were written, fines were imposed, but none of it could stop what they didn't understand. So every meal became a gamble, every drink a risk, and survival was not about safety, it was about endurance. If you lived long enough to reach 50, you hadn't just aged, you had survived something most people never escaped. The medieval world didn't promise comfort, it didn't guarantee fairness, it didn't even try to protect you. It simply asked one question: how much can you endure before your body gives in? And the answer, for most people, was not very long.